Hello, I'm Emma of Granola Gear, and I'm here today with you in my local park like a kind of crazy person because I just thought it would be nice. It's beautiful outside. You might get some wind noise from my mic, but when you live in and around the city, I've realized that this is just what you gotta do sometimes. You just gotta act like a crazy person and sit in the park and take a video because why not? It's perfect outside. I live near Boston, so in New England, it's been pretty hot the last couple of weeks, and the last 2 days, it's been like under 70 in the morning and then gets up to like 80 during the day, and it hasn't been quite as humid, so it's pretty perfect and beautiful, and I've been psyched about it. So I had this idea for a video a few weeks ago, and now that the temperature is a little bit better, I thought it might be fun. Uh, you're gonna have to watch some cars going by me because this is, I decided, the least awkward place to sit and do this. But we'll see. I'm not really a city person. I'm from a very rural area originally. I'm talking like serious backwoods. So I'm getting used to the idea of, what would you call it, third spaces, places that you just spend time and live your life, even though they're public. I don't have my own yard in my apartment, so it is what it is. I'm wearing today the Shell Tee by Wool and Beyond. It's knit in Drops Paris in, I don't remember what color it is. It might be cornflower blue. If I look at this, I think it's cornflower blue, so I hope it's called cornflower blue. And I'm working on the Friday Tea by Petite Knit, and this is in my leftover dropped saffron and cobalt blue and an unraveled sweater yarn, and it might have a few coffee stains on it because I spilled coffee on it, but I don't want to wash it until I block it because I think that the blue is probably going to bleed a little bit, so I want to be careful. But I'm working on the ribbing for this. I'm getting pretty sick of broken rib because I knit, what is it, Cami number 7 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, that's all broken rib, which is really pretty, but the broken rib gets a little exhausting. I'm kind of done with it. And this pink yarn is a little rough to work with. Not rough, but it doesn't glide the way you would like it to. So I'm kind of over it. I think I'm cutting it a little short, but I tried it on. It looked okay, and I think with blocking, it'll stretch out a little bit and it'll be fine. But yeah, I've got my iced coffee with me too, so we're just gonna hang and chat a little bit. I've been thinking a lot about when I want to start knitting for the fall. I posted a video about like dreams of just the most amazing things that I love and would love to knit. I'm kind of determined that this will be a cardigan winter because I always end up knitting pullovers because it's easier because you're in the round most of the time, and I love them and I wear them, but I love cardigans, and who doesn't love a cardigan to layer with? So I thought it would be nice to focus on that. Even though it's knitting flat, I don't need 100,000 sweaters. I have a whole bunch already, so it's okay if they take longer, and I'm trying to remind myself of that. So I just recently cast on the April cardigan, which is actually my second one of these by Petite Knit. My first one was knit in a cashmere that I unraveled from a thrifted sweater, and I love that. It's like a dark charcoal. It's pretty much black, but it's not quite like ink black. I really love it, and I love to throw it on. It's a nice, very dainty little piece. I thrifted a cone of 100% wool yarn in like this daffodil yellow, and it's kind of pretty much a DK weight, and I decided that that would be the best pattern for it. I was kind of going back and forth between that and the Eva cardigan because I really like that one. I have knit that one. I knit it for my mom, so I don't have one for myself. But I'm not really a hardcore yellow person. Like, I don't dislike it, but I don't usually pick it out. I have a few, well, like yellow layering pieces that I definitely wear pretty consistently, but I don't want it to be like the predominant color in my outfit, I guess you would say. So an Eva cardigan, because it's so boxy, I don't think is really the right piece for that color for me. I think an April cardigan, because it's a little more fitted and light, will be something that's more wearable for my wardrobe. I love colors. I love pastels. So yellows definitely get worn. Like I said, I just don't love it being the dominant color in my wardrobe. The other thing I've been thinking about is a crossbody like belt bag, like the fanny pack bags that everyone's wearing. I don't have one, and I avoided it for a long time, but now I'm again thinking it might be a good city bag to have. Like, I don't usually carry a whole lot with me. I usually just carry like my phone and my keys, and I use Apple Pay if I have to buy something. But it would be nice to be able to carry my wallet with me too, but just like have it close to me and not be a bag that's swinging around. I want to be able to run around and do stuff and not really worry about a bag. Um, but I don't want to have the same one as everyone else, and I love knitting, so I thought about sewing one, but I'm not like a huge fan of all the patterns. There's the crescent bags, and then there's the belt bags, and I want something that's kind of a combo of that. Like I know Uniqlo has the crescent bag, but they only have it in like white, and I like a color, honestly. And I'm not gonna get like one of the Lululemon ones. There's one at REI I kind of like, but they only have one color. So I've been thinking about knitting one, and then Colbury came out with a pattern that's stripy and it's kind of cool. But I think it might be a little big for me. She has a smaller version too, but it's not. I'm not 100% sold yet. Um, Also, the strap for it is just I-quarter, I think, and I'd like a wider strap. So if I put weight on it, it's not just like hanging down. So then I've been thinking about what if I design my own pattern, and I kind of have an idea in my head of how I could do it, but I haven't totally figured it out yet. I've been puzzling through it, so I might need to cast something experimental on soon just to try and puzzle through that thought. Um, Mostly for my own purposes, but I'd probably turn it into a pattern if it was a reasonable end result. Um, so yeah, that's what I've been processing lately. I've been thinking about those things. I've also been looking at other cardigans. I just actually requested that my library buy the Sari Nordland Softly Timeless Knits book uh, because I want to look at a few patterns from that, and I don't want to spend $40 to order it here. Maybe, but she's got some really pretty designs in that, like some really nice cabled cardigans that I like the style of. Uh, so yeah, the other book that I would love is Marie Wallen has an her most recent book I think is called just Aran for like Aran weight yarns, and there's some really amazing colorwork designs in that. And you can't like both of those books you can't buy the patterns individually, so that was I don't know. Maybe I'll ask for one for my birthday, but gotta send it to my husband and let him pick something. So that's what the books I've been thinking about. But I don't know. It's been a nice summer of knits. I've gotten a lot done, which I'm pretty proud of. I like a lot of my stuff. I've been wearing a lot of it. This piece I haven't worn as much through peak summer because it's in like a worsted Aran weight yarn. But because I didn't like at first the way that it kind of billowed out, but I've realized that it's actually better that way because I'm getting a lot more air in it. It kind of sticks out, but it still looks nice, and I can wear it in warmer temperatures than I otherwise would if it was closer to the skin, I think. So like it's perfect right now. It's just enough warmth in this 100% cotton. Um, but I really feel like there haven't been as many interesting summer knitting patterns this year, which is so funny to me because I feel like there's been a lot in past years. I mean, even Petite Knit, she put out, I guess, she's got like the cloud tee and the cloud top, the tank top one, the Amelie tee, the striped one, which is kind of like the cloud, not the cloud, the Cumulus blouses, but with stripes. And then the Sevilla blouse that just came out, which is long sleeved. And nothing else really. Maybe I'm sure there's something that I'm missing, but not a whole lot. My favorite thing's knitwear too, just like not. I mean, people can work at whatever pace they want. I'm not saying I expect all sorts from these people, but there's also other things that have come out from other designers. But I just feel like I've seen less this year. And I put up a poll on Instagram asking if other people felt the same way, and they did, which was kind of funny. Yeah, just less, which I guess I'm knitting a lot of older patterns this year. Like this one is actually pretty old. Not sure exactly what year, but a handful of years now. But that's the nature of knitting. I prefer timeless knits, like people like Petite Knit put out. Some of the kooky stuff is really cool and really amazing that people design that, and I'm happy for them. But I want something that I can wear forever if I'm going to put so much time into it. Which is why I think it's so interesting that there's so much like griping on the internet about someone like Petite Knit and people knitting so much Petite Knit. Which I guess maybe if you live in like a European country or like a Scandinavian country where people knit a lot more, like I think half of Norway supposedly knits, then You probably see those patterns everywhere you go. But even I in New England, so in a predominantly like a pretty cold area for the most part. We have long cold winters and cold falls, not nearly as cold as like Norway or Sweden or something like that, but pretty cold. I almost never see hand knits. I probably see one or two a month, and I can almost never identify the pattern. I've only been able to pick out what someone was actually wearing maybe 3, 4 times. So I don't like see petite knit walking around. So to me, that's still like still makes what you make really special. And if a plain sweater is what you want and you want it to be really well made and a easy to understand pattern, I don't really understand what the problem with that is. People are always looking for something to complain about. So don't make anyone feel bad about what you're knitting. Don't make anyone feel bad, make you feel bad about what you're knitting. That's what I mean to say. But yeah, so that's kind of been the thought process lately. I What else has come out lately? There's a few cardigans that I'm really interested in. I knit, what was it, cardigan number 9 at the end of the year last year by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I knit it in an unraveled sweater yarn that was so pretty, and I'm so obsessed. And the funny thing is, she actually, I can't remember what her name is, but the lady who runs My Favorite Things Knitwear and then someone else both asked me, like, oh, what yarn is that? I'd love to pick some up. And I was like, sorry, it's actually a vintage sweater from the thrift store. So you can't find it. RIP. But goes to show ya, it's not any different than any other yarn. But my Goodwill is finally open again. It was closed for renovations. And as I was hoping, they put AC in, which I'm fine without AC for the most part. But this was like in a really pretty old building. And honestly, the whole place was, I felt bad for the employees because in the summertime, it was like 95 degrees and just smelled like BO in there. And it was a miserable experience. Like you're just trying to get in and out as fast as you can. And I can't imagine actually working there during that. It's just not fun. And usually Goodwills are pretty nice, so it was kind of surprising. But they totally like refinished all the floors and painted everything nice and fresh, put in AC, and so now it's a much more pleasant experience. So I went the other day and I was there for at least an hour, and it's not very big. So I'm happy to have another resource again for sweaters and yarn. I saw a whole lot of cashmere, and I thought about getting a few pieces, but they were all really fine. And you can definitely like unravel a couple and like hold them together so that you get a thicker yarn. But I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. So I decided to put them back and pick up some other things. But I am really trying to get this done, mostly so I can get my 3mm back, because I really am just trying to get through some old projects that I haven't finished, that I set down for the winter time. I have a Cumulus T V-neck in cashmere and fine strands that I'm holding together from thrifted sweaters that I paused for like summertime because I didn't feel like working on it. I needed a bit of a break. And I'm going to make that a long sleeve if I have enough yarn, which I think I will. Um, but I have the yarn, like I have pure silk for a Cumulus T in pure silk, but I want to finish that other one first. I'm feeling not overwhelmed. I don't have that many like whips lingering, but I just want to get through some stuff. Like I don't want to look at it anymore because I keep it out in a basket so that I can see it, because if I tuck it away in a corner, I'll never think about it again. So usually either I finish it or I unravel it pretty quickly if it's not working out, which is what I would prefer. I'd rather the yarn be able to go towards something else than just sit there and linger and make me feel bad about it. uh, Sorry, my 3mm, I cannot, just on this side of the needle, it does not want to stay screwed on. I've been having to screw it on constantly. It's driving me a little crazy. I'm like close to trying to tape it, but then I know it won't glide. So that's the problem. And then sometimes I twist it a little bit while I'm knitting to like tighten it, and it gets a little bit of the yarn trapped in it. And so then nothing will move along as I'm knitting. I have to go back and fix it. So there's that. I don't really know how to get them to be tighter. I try. It just, I can't seem to win with these thinner needles because there's so much less to hold on to. It's really hard to get them on there as tight as they need to be to stay. But it's funny because this side, this needle doesn't do it at all. It totally stays on. I don't know what that is. I hope the sound turns out good on this because I really am having a nice time, and no one's bothered me. No one's really looking at me like I'm crazy. there isn't anyone else in the park because it's pretty early. So I think this would be a perfect little video if it works out. There's a little dachshund running through the grass to catch his ball. He's so cute. I've seen like 3 corgis this morning. I guess it's a corgi morning, but it's a beautiful day out. The sky is blue, and it's nice to relax and knit some. I don't actually know how many inches of ribbing I'm supposed to be doing. I think I did 13 rows on the ribbing for the sleeves, which I think I made a little bit shorter. Patina always seems to make her t-shirt sleeves really long. I don't mind that look. I think it's quite chic, but I don't always want them super short. Not super short, super long. Sometimes I want a little more short, normal t-shirt length cap sleeve. I love a good cap sleeve. My wedding dress had cap sleeves. That's my personal preference. But yeah, the piece that I think I've gotten the most wear out of this summer is my cami number 9, which that's definitely a lot of work. But I think I will knit another one of those next year because it's so versatile. I knit mine in the drop saffron cobalt. This is the leftover actually, which I didn't even use as much of the leftover as I was hoping I would use. I still have like half a skein. But I just knit it in a cotton, so it's not too heavy. It's very comfortable. I would maybe knit one in pure silk, but I like the density of it. It's not really very see-through or anything. It's a dark enough color, but I could totally wear it all the time. It's the yarn has bled quite a bit. Every time I've washed it, when I block things, I start with like the lightest color and work my way to the darkest. So after I've blocked like something light that I've finished, I'll usually throw that in afterwards and wash that in that water so that it doesn't stain anything else. I think it's probably close to being comfortable with throwing it in the washer in just like a garment bag with I got some of those color absorbing sheets, which is what I'm going to use with this because I'm worried that the blue will bleed into the pink. But I think the color absorbing sheet should be okay. I threw it in with I had dyed some white shorts that I got a stain on. I dyed them like a dark blue. So I had washed them a handful of times on their own because I didn't want them to stain other things. But then I put them in with like my towels and sheets, and I put one of those color absorbing sheets in, and it seemed to work. The sheet was like pretty dark and nothing else had color on it. So I think it should be fine, probably. But yeah, I really like that piece. I also think I got some Tin Lena on sale. And next year, I think I'm probably going to knit that into a cloud tee because I think it's the right weight and I have the right amount. I wouldn't, I usually am like a yarn first knitter, I would say for the most part. Every once in a while, there's something that I really want to knit and I'll get yarn specifically for it. But usually I just find yarn and then pick a pattern that fits that yarn, you know? Because I'd rather use what I have most of the time than find something different and spend the money on that. So I think that's probably the fitting piece. And I like the fitted, not fittedness of that, but it's like a kind of a tailored shape. It's not as baggy as some other pieces, so it should be easier to knit. But this broken rib has reminded me of how much I honestly love stockinette. I just love being able to turn off my brain. I've been knitting on a woolly piece. Just being able to turn off my brain and knit a woolly stockinette. All the yarn stays together. There's no splitting. You're just chilling and doing the knit stitch over and over again. It's a beautiful thing. I love it so much. But yeah, I think that's all the chat I've got in me for today. Kind of talked about all the things on my mind. I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know what you're knitting on this week and where you've been knitting it. If you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and subscribed. And I hope you have a wonderful day and happy